Welcome back to our Financing Simplified podcast brought to you by InTouch Mortgage Solutions. My name is Anthony Venuto, and today I'm joined with Stefano from Remax Premier. Stefano's been in the industry for quite some time now. We worked together over the years, and I thought it'd be interesting to bring in some perspective on what's actually happening in today's market. So Stefano, tell me, what do you find happening right now, especially the biggest challenges you either have for buyers or sellers in the market today?
Thank you, Anthony. I think one of the biggest challenges today is just trying to replicate because it's such a case-by-case situation, home by home, area by area. If you have a listing that performs really well, and trying to replicate that for the next seller can be challenging because maybe their home is not doesn't show as well, or maybe they don't want to take my lead fully in staging it or whatnot, and that's one of the challenges for sellers. I would say for buyers, one of the biggest challenges is probably participating in the multiple offer nights. That's back full swing, and that's probably the biggest challenge right now.
And I know, talking about the participating in these multiple offers and these situations, it's tough even from the financing perspective, because if a client comes to you and says, we're pre-approved, but we can't go into a firm offer because of XYZ, is it almost like they're not able to participate? Like, you have to basically say to them what? Like, if they're not able to participate on a multiple offer night because they can't go into a firm position, is it worth even trying sometimes? Like, let me know, be honest.
It all depends on the property. I mean, some properties, multiple offer nights come and go. So we run the multiple offer night, and it's maybe we get one or two, and then it still sells conditionally. And some of them are just, a complete zoo where you have 8 offers, 9 offers, and going firm, the winning offer typically is firm, and they just take away the edge, right? I mean, they come at it with an edge, and no one else stands a chance, right?
I mean, being in someone who's been in that seat multiple times, buying and selling. I mean, obviously, as a seller, you want that firm offer. I mean, let's not, sugarcoat it, right?
Course.
And as a realtor, as a professional, you're going to advise your client on the best plan of attack. And you were talking about something interesting before about taking your lead. When you're going through this process and trying to guide the client through the journey. It brings back to something that we've been talking to some of our clients about, like, we'll get those questions asked. What do you think of the market? How do you think things are going to play out? And when we were telling clients back in November and December, I says, now's a ripe time to sort of pull the trigger and start to look, because you could purchase a home. Yes, interest rates were slightly higher, but as we say to clients, you marry the price, you date the rate. And they were able to go into these offers with a condition of financing, inspection, lawyer review, so on and so forth, yada, yada, yada. And then by the time, we sort of advocate for that, guess what? It's already in the media. It's a little bit too late. What are your thoughts on that? Like,
Absolutely. I mean, you remember we were telling buyers that slightly before the holidays, before Christmas time, that there was a lot of opportunity. I mean, the listings were also down, the product itself, but there was opportunity. And then, coming right out of the new year, right into about February, March, that's what started to happen, is we saw multiple offers coming back. And it's really tough. It's really tough to coach people and buyers into, getting them into that lane and showing them where there's opportunity when, everything else is telling them otherwise, right?
of course, we're the salesman, right? As I say, the one step up from a used car salesman,
That's
and
right.
we're just trying to make a deal, but it's not the case. I know we work with individuals who actually have, trusted advice and service. That's the key, and it's like we're both on board on the same time. We're talking to clients saying, look, nobody's gonna put a gun to their head and say you need to buy now. But based on those conditions, if you have a condition of financing, if you're limited to your budget, you have to look at those opportunities when no one's, what is it? Is it Warren Buffett says, when everybody's greedy, that's when everybody's greedy, that's when you sell, and then when everyone's selling, that's when you buy.
Of course.
Right? It's the opposite of the equation, right? And that's what we're telling clients, because we found a lot of them, at least in our perspective from our background with the financing, is if these clients could not go in with a firm offer, I can't really compete in a multiple. You can. Nobody's telling them they can't, but they're going to get deflated. They're going to get deterred, and then they're going to have to find or reshift their focus into finding properties that are not set up for multiple offers so that they can win over that condition of financing. But what are you finding right now with the inventory levels? You touched upon it earlier about, you know, the lack of inventory. What are you seeing happening now?
There's still a lack. There's been a lack of listings for a long time. I mean, obviously, as the weather gets nicer, more people tend to want to list because they figure I want to list my home when the weather's nice, when the flowers are bloomed. But there's still a lack on the whole. And the bottom line is if your home shows itself a certain way and is ready and prepared to hit the market, it's still going to perform amazingly. That's basically where it is right now.
No, I agree. And as far as like timing, I know like over the last few years during the pandemic and all this stuff, like there was almost like we had two spring markets or almost like two fall markets. And it was just constant for the longest time, which I know for a lot of buyers and stuff like that, they got into the market sooner than maybe have anticipated. But generally, like we talk to clients, it's like, is there a specific, if you had to give some advice to someone, you know, someone who's listening, you know, when is it usually a good time? Like I talk to people with kids and they're like, oh, we want to list or want to buy before the summer or right before the school year starts so we can register, for example. Like what are some of the advices that you would give?
It's totally correct. It used to be the best two markets were spring and fall. So, but there's a little bit of a skew line between what spring was in real estate. Spring in real estate is actually the dead of the winter, like February, March. That's our spring because closings are 30, 60, 90 days out. So that's considered the real estate spring, or it was prior to the last couple years. I feel that right now we're in a delayed spring, at this time of year. And fall was the second best time. Fall would be after school starts, mid-September, late September. That would go right up till December 24th, literally.
Yeah, right before Christmas.
Right before Christmas. So those used to be the best markets. I still think they're considered the stronger ones, but we've seen it all over the place.
I know this has been crazy. There's no actual formula. There's no conventional market. Everything's just sort of the amount of demand. And this is something that we've talked about it off camera was, you know, you think about this bottlenecking of buyers that going into 2022, from 2021, from this peak of the market right into like, say, January, February, before things start to turn over, you know, we went from so many pre-approvals, so many phone calls to like almost crickets, right? And do these actual buyers, that's the question we get, is did they just disappear? Or are they sidelined themselves? They basically stepped over and said, you know, we're going to wait. And now the pressure still mounts because we have higher immigration levels, lower inventory. And most people would have said, you know, yeah, interest rates do impact buyer sentiment. So does the media, right? So does what's happening when people look at the media and say, hey, builders, they're not building, or projects are being terminated, or they're just not able to pull through. And you see more demand. Like, what do you see like in regards to these buyers that are coming to the market? Like, is it most people that are renting that are looking for a place, or is it people that are like tired of their parents' basement, or they're starting their lives? What kind of demographic you seeing that are entering the market right now?
We are seeing a lot of first-time buyers currently renting. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of that, and they've got great employment, they've saved up, and they want to kind of get into the purchasing world. We also are seeing I see a big portion of youth that's coming in, like you mentioned, maybe living at home, and they're getting a lot of help. They're getting some help from family, and they're coming into the market. We are seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, bank of mom and dad. It's not. It is what it is. There's going to be those who have it and those who can't, and those who, unfortunately, like I said, the idea of homes being and it's sad. This is the sad reality is that homes are no longer like an actual need versus like the want. It's the shift. We were talking about this with some other people. We're saying that homes are going to become generational. Do you notice more people moving in together with family just to make things meet, to make ends meet? That was something that we saw too, where they're buying bigger homes and they're just retrofitting them, or they're retrofitted to live together, so that they can afford the home. Big thing, a lot of people had babies, like a lot of people's needs have shifted. A lot of people were in a condo. Like we've noticed a lot of people that were in condos, they have a 1-bedroom, but now they're on their second kid and they're like, I just can't make this work anymore. Like, we need more space, and it's really pushing people into the market. And I always say it's not speculative. I don't think we're not seeing that many investors in the market right now that people are buying, rental properties. It's all individuals that are like, as we talked about, I need more space. I'm renting. I can't be, my parents are downsizing, so I need to find my own place. Like, this is just absolutely crazy right now. And builders are not building. But I guess just to sort of, circle back a little bit, Steph, I know you've been in the industry for an eternity. You're fantastic at what you do. Just as I said, if we have some viewers and listeners out there, like, what advice would you give to someone if they're starting their journey and they're looking to, sort of get their feet wet in the industry? Obviously, first get your pre-approval, before you go
Yes.
out. But then, what kind of advice are you giving to clients when they're shopping? Like, what are things that you're pulling out of them to find out exactly what they need?
My best advice to anybody looking to get into the market is probably their expectations. So a lot of people, a lot of times buyers want to make a jump right away. So they want maybe a semi, or they want a town because that's what they were used to, they grew up in. My advice would be start small, start anywhere to get your foot in, because I always say that time in the market is much more important than timing the market. And a lot of buyers have gotten discouraged, so they've stepped aside, as you said. But I don't think that's a good strategy. Or some of them tell me, Stefano, you know what, we're going to try and save another 20, 30,000, but I don't think they can outsave how the market's progressing over time. So I really believe that they should, maybe reevaluate their expectation, look at a condo, a small condo, start off, get yourself into the market, and then in, maybe 2 years, 3 years, we revisit that, put it back on the market, and then you make your jump into town, into semi, so on and so forth. That would probably be my best advice.
That would be the advice I would give to our clients as well. Start the property ladder, right? Rome wasn't built in a day.
That's
You
right.
know what I mean? People, like I said, we were talking about this with my brother, and we were saying that, a lot of people, a lot of individuals, they want to get to where maybe their parents were, as you said. They see that detached home with the backyard and, all this space, but they didn't realize the journey it took to get there. And obviously the markets that's changed in between that. And I do think with a lot of clients, if they start off small, they have the ability to, as I said, revisit, take on shorter terms, speaking to their mortgage professional, talking to their real estate professional about their short-term financing and long-term strategies of where they want to be. But you took the words right out of my mouth. Time in the market, not timing the market.
Yep.
So we're going to end it off here. Just wanted to remind everyone that's watching or listening that if you find the content that we're producing on our Financing Simplified podcast, brought to you by InTouch Mortgage Solutions.
You can find me on social media at Stefano Scala Realty, on Facebook, Stefano Scala.
Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on our social media for more. Thanks for watching. Thanks for clicking.